What is going on, everybody? Obesity Prime here, and today is the day I unveil the video that you've all been asking for. Not all been asking for, come on now, but a lot of you have mentioned, and that is for a top Shaco guide. So I did my best here to explain some of the things I think about, some concepts, and the best way to play him for someone that is new to him, or at least new to the top lane. So let's get right into this, and because it's looking pretty long, so let's do this.
For my next trick, I'll make you disappear. Now you see me, now you don't.
Welcome back. So let's jump right in. So I talked about how this is going to be primarily about AP Shaco. So let's talk about that. I broke this down to a couple of sections: summoners and skill order. So let's go over that real quick. So the summoners that I like to choose are Flash and Ignite. Just helps me duel a little bit better if I want to duel or get out of a sticky situation. You know, having that extra flash, they will never know it's there. You Q and then you flash and you're still invisible. It's like, woo, I think you're still invisible. It's been a while. But yeah, another viable option is teleport. Yes, you can go teleport. And another one, if you're feeling really saucy, is barrier for the baits. I used to do that a while ago. I think maybe near the end of season 9, I would run barrier, ignite, and there were a lot of dives from top laners, and they regretted it once I popped that barrier in their face. So that's pretty much my summoners. Skill order, it depends. Well, it doesn't really depend that much, but obviously you're going to start W into Q into E, and if that's level 3, obviously you're going to take your R whenever it comes up. So let's talk about your next 2 points. Depending on if they are a self-sustained champion, you may be better off just putting points into W, 2 early points into your box. That way they can help you wave clear a little bit better. And what I mean by that is if you're going up against maybe a Maokai, a Vladimir, maybe even an Akali, depending on their build, they have a lot of self-sustain. 2 of those don't even have mana, so they're eventually going to wear you out of lane, and they're going to take the lead. So at that point, I don't see the real reason of wasting your small mana pool throwing daggers at them to where they can essentially heal back up. You do want to take favorable trades, obviously, if you can bait them into your boxes, but primarily what you want to try and do until you can get your clone is farm the wave. Do your best to farm, do your best to last hit. You more than likely, since top lane is full of bruisers and tanks and stuff like that, maybe some hyper carries depending, and you're just an assassin. Remember that you're an assassin, an AP one who really gets most of their damage from their box and their ultimate. Focus on just trying to farm, and a way you can do that is by placing a box in the middle of the wave, because in the early game they don't want to majority of them don't want to take that damage, and so that can free you up to walk in and get a last hit. I would say if you have to use your dagger to last hit, focus it mainly on cannon minions, because they'll like to zone you out of that. They do that all the time, where they'll hover real close right next to it, assuming you'll walk up, you'll get caught, and that's bad if like it's a Darius or a Jax. You want to keep your distance. So 2 early into points into W. Not only that increases the damage of the box, but also increases the fear, which can help save your life. And then you slowly start working some into your E, and then progress forward. I think E should still be the one you max first, but it comes later on. I think after level 7 I would start putting points into E. So I know based on what I've just told you, you're looking at this particular game and you go, wait a minute, you're stacking in E. Well, yeah, that's because it's a little bit different here. Gnar doesn't have really great self-sustain like compared to Vladimir or Maokai. Little Gnar is the easiest one to poke. As you saw earlier when I threw a dagger at Mega Gnar, it didn't do anything, so that's how I take advantage of him with my E in this particular game. There are certain other games where I will actually in fact go double points into box, like I said. So that's the skills rundown. Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. Nothing really changes there in regards to your skill order when it comes to top lane. So next up are ruins. So let's jump into ruins. Alright, so here we are at the ruins. Basically, there's only two pages. One is your pretty much your standard Shaco build, especially if you're going AP. There's nothing really different here, and that is you're gonna go Comet, Mana Flow Ban, Transcendence for the build that we're gonna go as well, and then your choice of Scorch or Gathering Storm. This one is pretty straightforward. It's pretty much the number one that you're gonna go, aside from Dark Harvest and all that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about top lane. So this is a safe one, especially when you pair it with the Inspiration. There's plenty of options. You can choose whichever you want. You can go Stopwatch or Perfect Timing, Futures Market, Biscuit Delivery, Cosmic Insight. That's probably the best one, or the top one here. And then the second choice is up to you. Boots. If you're going to go Time Warp Tonic, it's pretty much always just start Corrupting Potion. If you're not going to go this, I mean, if you do go this, it's best if you just go Corrupting Potion, and that way you get the most value out of that. And for your adaptives, again, it's your choice. I would say try to take at least one Flex Armor and Magic Resist or Armor, either here or here, and you can do whatever you like here. It depends on who I'm going up against and how I feel. So it's either offense, or some type of defense. And if I go defense here, and then maybe I'll go health or something like. So this is your pretty safe option here. Or you can go like something like this, and then either armor or magic. So that's pretty much the main one I recommend you try and take first. Second one would be one that I kind of do sometimes, especially if I'm going up against a poke or a sustain champion. I may go this just for the survivability and health regen. That is Fleet Footwork, Triumph, or Presence of Mind. You could choose whichever one you think may be good. I tend to go Triumph, just in case we go one-on-one and the fight comes down to just a sliver of health. If I manage to win, I can get some health back and possibly live through that, so we don't go 1-for-1. And then secondly, I would probably say Tenacity, just to get out of CC. That's probably the best thing here. Anything that reduces CC I think is great. And then either Coup de Grace or Last Stand, because you will be having some health items. You'll be definitely a lot healthier than maybe a support or jungle Shaco. So number one, Coup de Grace. Second can be Last Stand. Now here in your secondaries, where things get, you have tons of options. There's options for each tree line here that you can go to that complements this. So for example, Domination, you go Taste of Blood, Ravenous Hunter. Here you're getting healing from both of these runes on top of this, so it's definitely viable here, in my opinion. You will be having mana problems, well, like always, so you can go something like this. This will help with your mana. This will go into your build as well, help with your build. Here you can go Second Wind, Revitalize. I recommend this if you're going to start Doran Shield. Sometimes I may go Doran Shield just for more of that regen, especially against punk champions, for example, like Gnar. Do this. And lastly, of course, you have your option here of whatever one you want. All are fine. I mean, the options here are definitely fine. And then depending on your matchup top, I like to do something like this. Maybe one adaptive and double the armor of that champ, or split if I know that they have a lot of hard carries on their team. But that's pretty much it. I recommend if you're starting off, just go with this. Pretty safe. Gives you everything you need to excel. The other one's a little bit more for if you're advanced. So let's move on to the items. Alright, so we're here at the items. I made this one just to show you all the possible items you can go. Starting off top, number one is your Corrupting Potion, especially if you're going Time Warp Tonic. This one's always great because good sustain in lane. Second, you can go Doran Shield, 2 pots, pretty straightforward. And like I said, maybe with the Fleet Footwork, or maybe if it's someone who is going to poke you a lot, you could go Doran Shield for that health regen. That'll come in handy with the 1 pot. And then a possibility, but I wouldn't recommend, is you could go Dark Seal into your 3 pots. I mean, you get a little bit more mana, you get a little bit more viability out of the pots, especially if you were to add it with Time Warp Tonic. I think you'll have a lot of health sustain here. That's good. Always on my first back, I try to get a Sapphire Crystal, or actually I try to get both of these on my first back, just to help me with my mana, because the pool is so small and you're going to run out quick. I think this 450 gold or whatever, 475 is worth it in the early game. Your AP is not going to be, you know, revolutionary. It's not going to change things. You're just trying to get to 6, so getting this will definitely help you get there without having to back, assuming you're not getting, you know, ganked a lot. Next is your pretty much core item, which is your Hextech Proto Belt. Gives you health, ability power, cooldown reduction, and helps with your wave clear. Number 1 item I recommend always get first, followed by your boots, whatever one fits the situation. I tend to go Sorks just because I like damage, but Ionian will definitely help with the build since you're going Transcendence. That's 10, Transcendence is 10, this is 20, this will be 30, plus if you went Cosmic Insight and maybe a CDR Ruin, you're already at 40% with these two right here, and then any other additional CDR you get converts into mana, which is nice because I would say your second item should be Zonia's. And Zonia's, that's definitely nice. Another CDR item you could go would be Luden's Echo or maybe Nashor's Tooth. I didn't put Nashor's Tooth on it because I don't think it's that great compared to the other options here. And then yeah, here any of these items right here is nice. Any of them work. This one, and this one give you CDR, so those 3 will stack with the cooldown reduction build that you're going based off Transcendence. The other ones are just damage. These ones down here are damage. This one's more defensive. This one's for tanks. This one's for healing reduction. So pick the AP item that best suits your needs, especially at your place in the game. This one down here I just want to briefly talk about is if you were going your fleet footwork and how this would work. So this bad boy right here, Spirit Visage, yeah, this one right here, combining it with everything I talked about, so fleet footwork, triumph, if you were to go into the resolve tree, if you were going to go into the domination tree, with those particular healing ruins on top of this, woo, that's a lot of healing, especially when Gunblade too, man, that's gonna be it. This would be nasty right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This would be almost full build. You'd need another item, which I would probably say would be this right here. Would be godly build. But yeah, so those are just the items. Pretty much just stick to Proto Belt, Zonia's, and then after that, you know, choose whichever one of these fits your need in the game. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the goal. In my opinion, the goal of AP Shaco Top. Your goal isn't necessarily to carry the game. You gave that up by being top. Your main goal for me is to go even and to apply pressure top. So what I mean by go even is that you don't want to go 0-3, 0-4, anything like that feeding your top lane. Do not feed your top lane. You, being Shaco, you have the option to pretty much play safe. It's okay to give up farm if you don't die. In my opinion, I think that's much better. To be down, you're more than likely going to be down in levels and farm, but try to maintain as close of a level to the enemy top laner as you can. The gold will come later on once you get your Proto Belt. It'll be a little bit easier to farm those waves. But yes, don't die, because then you fall further behind in levels, and that can be detrimental to the game. So you wanna, if you're gonna trade, make sure you get a good trade-off. You know, always follow up your ganks from your jungler. It's always possible to ping them, especially if you know that the summoner's down on the top laner. Don't always try being hero and like 1v1 all the time. Sometimes it's better to get a gank and, you know, make it easier for you to get that gold, to get that spike. Next up is applying pressure. So if you don't run teleport like me, your top laner, enemy top laner is definitely going to be roaming if they did take it, or without it. And yeah, what you're going to do is you're going to pressure those towers. You're going to try and get a good wave. If you can, pop your ult, get your clone smacking on it too. Your boxes, all 3 of these can destroy towers, especially since you'll go AP, so you'll be doing a good amount of damage to them. And you can protect yourself very well by using your boxes. And since you're stacking AP, your boxes, the time that they can be on the field increases. So at some point you can have, especially if you're going your CDR build, you can have like 4 boxes up, which provides a ton of CC and protection from you. You just got to be aware of where the enemy team is. You know, look at your mini map. It does help you. Try and set a ward if you can in the jungle. just so you can pay attention and see, okay, is it one or two people going? If it's two, I could definitely get away, depending on the champion that are rotating. So that's pretty much it. And then yes, of course, you want to be around objective fights if you can. Look at the timers of the dragon, of the rift, of the baron, and usually try to rotate over to those objectives if you can within a minute or so, like 55 seconds. Try to be there. That way you can at least set up maybe one or two boxes to help zone out the enemies and help your team possibly win your team fight. If you're being pushed on the tower and your enemy top lane has teleport, more than likely you may want to ping them off of it unless they are ahead, the rest of your team is ahead or can win that fight. Especially if you did not go TP, because you're not going to be able to help, and now it becomes a 5-on-4, and there's a good chance they can get wiped. So those are your main goals. Just to go even if you can, get ahead if you definitely can, apply pressure top, and assist if you can, especially around objectives, especially the important ones. This is important for early, mid, and late game. You just prioritize those as you progress further into the game. Matchup plays a huge part in whether or not you get demolished or you lose, and there is a difference there. There are some matchups that are a little bit easier than others, obviously, and there's some that are really hard. For example, one that is, in my opinion, pretty hard is Garen, because of his self-sustain, the insane amount of damage he does, and his silent and his combo. So what he'll do? If he's good Garen, he'll probably flash on you at some point, Q you, do his spin, ignite you if he took ignite, and then he'll R you, and you're pretty much dead within that time span. Honestly, you probably would be dead, and it's very annoying to go up against. Obviously, all ranged champions are annoying to go against. Jace, Quinn, Lucian, Vayne, Gnar. I think Gnar is a little bit easier compared to the other ones. And then of course you have your tanks that are also a pain in the ass as well. Everyone in the top lane's a pain in the ass. Let me just put it that way. They got a lot of bullshit that you gotta deal with, and top lane isn't for the lighthearted. You gotta know your boxes, you gotta know your games, you gotta be able to be good enough to outplay them. And most of the time I can at least go even, goal oriented. There's some times where I do beat them, and there's some times where I do get my ass beat. I'll go 1-5 over the course of the game in the top lane. It happens. You're not going to win everything, guys. So, no matter if your team flames you, you're not going to win everything. It's okay. You're like, okay, learn from that. If you're not recording or watching your replays, definitely do that so you can learn some more. One of the biggest things is mute all. Mute your team, especially if you're in the lower elos. They're trash anyways because they're in lower elos. They don't know what they're talking about. They just want to blame someone. They have bad games just like you have bad games. Sometimes Smurfs are in there and there's nothing you could do about it. So just mute all. Focus on improving and staying your goal-oriented self. So that's definitely it. Don't be afraid to roam. If your lane's pushed up, you can definitely roam mid and try to get a kill there. Especially if you think it's a good opportunity, you can definitely roam and let your tower die. It's okay to give first tower, in my opinion. Especially, you're not really gonna be able to stop them anyways. I remember going up against a Trundle. Once he got his some of his items, he would just walk up with his wave and smack and destroy the tower, even if I would hit him. But then the wave would attack me and I'd end up losing health. So that's why I would say put points into your box. That way they can help you wave clear. But yeah, at some points, tanks like Sion, Garen, they could just walk up Trundle. If they go that, could just walk right up and smack the tower, and eventually it's gonna go away. Eventually you have to back to get mana and buy. Especially if you don't go TP, you're gonna lose the tower much faster. So just keep that in mind. It's okay. It actually makes it a little bit easier for you to farm, because now that you're in your side of the map, make sure you do put a ward up though, especially somewhere safe so you can see them coming if they are rotating to get you. Especially if there's someone like a Kane who can fly around through the wards and stuff like that. They can take different routes because of their dash. So yeah, you pretty much. I can't go over all of the ways to go up against the champions in the top lane. You pretty much just have to learn from experience and going up against them. Keep your distance is all I can say. Try to bait to your boxes. you know, your R can block certain skills, so keep that in mind as well, depending on who they are. For instance, a Darius, you can R or Q his ultimate and you won't die from it. Hopefully, you won't die from it. Always, here's my recommendation for the boxes, always have your, what I call an escape box. It's a box that's a little ways behind you, just enough time so if you were to Q, you know, within 1 second of that Q being active, you're past your box, so they'll chase you around the corner, and they'll get feared, but you'll still have, you know, 1.5 seconds to, you know, get closer to your tower. So always have an escape box if you can, something to bait into if you need to run away, because there are times where the jungler will come out of the brush with red trinket. They'll see your box right there and they'll smite it. So you want to have one that's a little bit further away so you can Q away. That's always a helpful tip. Remember your ganking opportunities. You can self-gank your lanes as well, especially when they come up to the tower to smack it. You know, just Q over the wall. Get a box if there's someone who's AoE like. You can definitely trigger the tower, pick up a kill that way. And the rest is pretty much the game. Yeah, that is pretty much the guide. I don't know exactly what else I can tell you. I pretty much give you all my tips and the things that I think about during the game. All the other stuff that comes with it, you know, it has to come from you, and it's hard to tell. I mean, I don't know your team comp all the time. I don't know their team comp. I don't know their champions or how well they play their champions, how well you play your champion. These are all things you take into consideration whether or not you'll win the game. It's pretty much a coin flip in lower elo, as they like to say, because you never know. You may have rage quitters. You never know who's gonna rage quit. That's why I say just mute all, so you don't have to deal with them. They don't get into your head. They can ping and do all that shit. It's fine. So having a good mental is another thing. Watch your minimap. Be objective oriented. I told you already the objectives of top lane. If you can get a good outplay, go ahead and get a good outplay. It's nice. It's nice to 1v1 a champion in the top lane. I think that's one of the best things and reasons why I like doing it. Sometimes it is difficult and annoying. It can be aggravating depending on the matchup, but there are some that are, you know, you can bait them in and it feels great to kill them. Yeah, this is pretty much it for the overview guide of how to play Shaco Top. I have played against a lot of top laners. I can't tell you in depth the best way to beat them. It just comes through practice and how well or bad that enemy player is. Just keep in mind of the objectives, play it well, go even, make smart plays, and yeah, just do the best you can. That's all you can do. I mean, if you're not a pro player and you don't practice this game, study and play it like a pro, and then you're not going to be a pro, and that's fine. Some of us just want to play for fun. Sometimes the outplays in the top lane is enough to justify it. Go ahead and do it. I would. I don't care. I'll play whatever lane I want to play. Y'all can bitch all you want. League community, not you guys, because you are fellow Shaco players. But anyways, so thank you guys for hanging out, listening to me speak for a while. I am very thirsty, so I'm gonna go get a drink. See you guys later on. Cheers.
For my next trick, I'll make you disappear.